All right, so in the Forge, I'm going to be giving you the best progression guide for everything crafting wise. Now, obviously, a lot of people like to give you, I would say, a bit of useless information, like usually to get these ores and craft them or do this, but this is more of like a realistic expectation of something you could probably actually obtain. So the first thing as a note though is I'm going to have early game and just in general stats for the early game, and then mid game, and then similar stats for that as well, and then the late game, which obviously the late game isn't the best, but I will include the best overall, which is also what I'm currently working towards. So first things first is the early game. So this is probably the most basic armor you can get in the game. And first things first, as a note, I'm not going to demonstrate crafting it because I just sold my whole inventory after I was grinding for a bit for most of my, for the most part, so I don't really have too much on me right now. But what we'll start off by doing, just coming on over to the Forge. Now, for the first thing as an understandment is most of this stuff for the early game one, I'll come up to just to show you. I'd recommend using minor potions if you can, but a good majority of these can easily be obtained from, if you can't get it, basalt rocks or basalt veins. You don't have to get volcanic rocks or anything like that. So you should be completely fine for that. Now, I'm going to quickly run back. So the first one is really made up of just rubies, emeralds, and riviolite. So that'll be the main resources you'll use for this, which obviously if you don't know, are not riviolite, cuprite, this right here. So yeah, cuprite. So it's gonna be ruby, emerald, and cuprite, not riviolite. That one's a bit rare. So pretty simple, common to obtain. Now, one thing as a note is you can swap out, and I would recommend this sometimes if you have it, of the cuprite for obsidian. The reason for this is this gives a bonus defense buff on armor, so you can use this. So the first one is going to be for the helmet, which is going to be in equal parts 9 rubies, 9 emeralds, and then 9 cuprite or 9 obsidian. This is going to be, hopefully, obviously, if you do get this, this should be a pretty good helmet that you can get from this, so I would recommend using that. Now, the next one is going to be the chest plate. Now, as a note, I do believe all of these, for the most part, are going to pull you, if you craft them enough, the Dark Knight version of the heavy armor. So you just got to be consistent with crafting it. Like, obviously, you know, luck-wise, it's not guaranteed, but it's the main one you're really aiming for. Now, for the chest plate, it's going to be a bit more, so it's going to be 16 rubies, 10 emeralds, and 10, like previously, cuprite or obsidian. For the chest plate, I would honestly recommend using obsidian because of the percentage buff is going to be more effective on a bigger number that the armor chest plate is going to give. Now, for the leggings, what you're going to want to do is 12 emeralds, 10 or 12 rubies, 10 emeralds, and 8 cuprite. Now, also as a note, I will list all of this on the website in the description. As another note, the website in the description, so you can come on into this. Just on the homepage, there's this calculator right here, so you can use all this stuff right here. So for example, for crafting weapons, make sure you click onto armor and say like the 16 rubies, 10 emeralds, and then we'll show the obsidian just for the example, 10 obsidian. Obviously, if you use more obsidian to get the full passive, but you might need to remove some other ones just to get the number down. Now, as you see though, if I do, we'll just say 10, you'll get the 27% extra defense, and this will be 64% chance for the chest plate. If you do 12, you'll get the 30%, and then guaranteed practically at that point to get some form of heavy armor. Now, what you will do for the leggings is going to be 12 rubies, 10, and then 8. But obviously, since the multiplier wise, I would recommend doing maybe less emeralds and extra obsidian. So 12, 8, and 10 for the leggings. Now, if you obviously can tell, the highest chance you can really get for leggings is going to be around a 49% chance. So there's a good shot you don't get it, as just an understanding for that. But that's the main for the one. Now for the next one, this is going to be as a note. So most likely, obviously if you use directly these recipes, the helmet is going to be roughly 100 base damage or defense. The chest plate is going to be around 130, and the leggings are going to be around 120, in total being a bit over 350. Now for mid game, this is when I will recommend using obsidian, just because. And also, if you come over here and go to the ores page, you can scroll on down and see each trait that these have. So riviolite, this is another reason why I said this, because I was just thinking of this as a weapons trait. But what I will definitely recommend is using mithril, because if you combine mithril and obsidian together gives a super good passive buff. So just as, you know, a little bit of a note. So we'll first start off with the helmet, which is going to be, just come back on over to here. This is going to be 8 obsidian. This is, by the way, mid game. 8 obsidian, 10 mithril, and then 8 ore. Now, this is going to be the most propped out traits you're probably going to see for a good bit. Obviously, you know, if you also happen to have lightite, you could get that, but and I mean, realistically, if you're mid game, you're probably not going to have it. But as you see, we have 30 obsidian, 15% mithril, or 15% extra defense from mithril, 30% extra from the obsidian, and this is combined. It doesn't multiply on top of each other, so it's going to be 45% extra. And then ore. So the one reason why a lot of recipes usually use ore is because this extra damage buff is actually going to be applied in total. So if I have, say, the 15% extra damage buff right on my helmet, chest plate, and leggings, and my weapon, it's going to be combined in total to be all 4 with the 15% added on top of each other. So like a 60% extra damage. So it's just going to combine that, which obviously if you stack that, that's a lot. Now for the chest plate, this is going to be a bit more. So we're going to do 12 obsidian. We're going to do 14 mithril. And then we're going to, you can obviously get it at this, but we're going to bring the ore up to 13 just to get the increase. Now you can do 12, but if you do 13, as you see, heavy chest plates at a 73, and anything more is pretty much unnecessary because you're not really getting much benefit out of the trait and percentage increase. So I would recommend just this. And then for the final section of the mid game, which is the leggings, we're going to go back down to 10 obsidian, 11 mithril, and 10 ore for the 46% chance for the heavy leggings. Now, this is going to be the most propped out, and for the most part, the stats you're going to be looking at, if you get, obviously, this is just based on the fact that if you do manage to get the full knight armor. Now, if you don't, the knight helmets, as you can see, are roughly 6% less on average. Obviously, it's more incremental, but like on the Dark Knight chest plate, it's 25% plus health. And then on the Knight chest plate, as you can see, it's only 16%. So obviously, you know, it's a bit different. But so for the most part, if you get obviously the best version of it, 121 base damage or defense. I don't know why I keep saying damage, my bad. But 121 base defense on the helmet, 170 on the armor, and roughly 150 on the leggings. And you're going to have obviously the passives from before, where you're going to have the increased damage from all of the ore armor, a ton of extra health, and in total roughly 440 defense. Now the late game, as a note, the late game is mostly going to be comprised of Demonite as one of the main resources, but it's going to be mainly Demonite, Riviolite, or Demonite, Mithril, and ore. So first things first, obviously I did a lot of crafting for weapons. That's why I don't really have anything, and I sold a lot. So sorry, I can't make the visual example. But so the first one is going to be basically 9 Demonite, which obviously if you didn't know, Demonite has its reflect burn chance. So there's a 25% chance that when you take damage, you pretty much just the person dealing damage, you just turn them on fire pretty much. So it's going to be 9 Demonite, and then you're going to do 8 Mithril, and then 9 ore. Now this is going to be for the heavy helmet. Obviously, as you see, pretty good stats in general. Now you're going to probably try to speed this up a bit because the video is going to be too long. So we're going to add, now for the chest plate, we're going to do 14 on the armor, then we're going to do 11 mithril and 11 ore. So 14 Demonite, 11 mithril, and 11 ore. Now this is going to be for the chest plate. Obviously, I believe around 64% too. If you start adding too much, obviously you can increase it, but it seems since these ores are very rare, pretty useless, in my opinion, because mithril being a 3.5, what you could do is add more Demonite, but as you see, it starts to remove from all the other stats. So this is like the best you can get stat-wise to perfectly have like the highest from all of these. Now for the leggings, it's going to be 11, 9, and 10, and this is going to get you the heavy leggings. Now in total, you're going to be looking at roughly 164 base defense on the helmet, 220 on the chest plate, and almost 200 on the leggings. And then for overall stats, obviously a 75% chance to burn enemies when taking damage, which is obviously nearly guaranteed at that rate whenever you have the stacking of your armor. And then 15% vitality, and then a total of almost, by the way, this is just the base, almost 600. Now the final, which is the best armor, this is pretty much only comprised of the main ore I'm trying to farm now, which is Darkrai, Demonite, and Lightite. Oh my gosh, I should sell one of these. Anyways, for the first recipe, this is going to be pretty simple. Now, obviously, the physical stat itself, if you luck out and get the highest armor, will be great, but the passives are what are very measurable. So, for example, I was trying to craft some of this good armor, and say this, I got the Dark Knight leggings. I didn't get the helmet. This was mainly comprised of Demonite, as you can tell, but the Dark Knight, this is just another example. I used this exact recipe on my leggings. When they should be 240, they were only 156. Pretty much only because of the fact that I didn't really have a lot of high multiplier ore, and as you can tell, pretty much mainly just because of the fact that I didn't get the Dark Knight leggings. Because here's an example. This Dark Knight legging, 156. This Mithril one, mainly comprised of Mithril, mind you, which is almost half the multiplier that one had, and it is a good 20 defense higher than this one right here, mainly comprised of Fireite, which is obviously a bit less, which is almost 200 defense. So you get the idea of how important getting the Dark Knight versions are. So firstly, this is going to be for the helmet. We're going to do 9 Darkrai, and then we're going to do 9 Demonite, and then we're going to do 8 Lightite. Now this is going to give you these passives, but this is why it's really good. So firstly, Darkrai, which is a 15% dodge chance. Essentially what this means is you're gonna have a chance to just not take damage. Like they'll hit you with an attack and you'll just fully ignore it essentially. Then the Demonite Reflect Burn, and then Lightite has, obviously as you can see right here, a 15% movement speed increase, meaning that's why I move decently fast. But if you combine all your armor to have it, you'll have like a 45% increase. Now it also, I feel like this isn't shown, but it also increases your dash distance, as you can tell. So you also get a really good dash distance increase. Now the next one, which is going to be the chest plate, this is going to be obviously the most expensive. We're going to bump it up to 17 Darkrai, 13 Demonite, and 13 Lightite. Now this is going to be really good. This is pretty much just to guarantee you get heavy chest plates. Now if you were to somehow not pull a chest plate from this, RIP. Pretty much. I'm pretty sure I was doing like 12 or something trying to craft good leggings with the previous one, and I got the Dark Knight helmet when I was doing the Demonite main one. But next we're gonna do the leggings. Now obviously if you were to solely comprise the crafting recipe of, you know, just like high multiplier stuff, then realistically like you could have a high base defense, but this, mind you, has no ores on it. It hasn't been upgraded. This helmet right here, and it has a 200 defense and has 25% chance to burn enemies upon taking damage, 20% weapon damage dealt as fire per second for 2 seconds, 15% chance to hit, a pretty much 13% chance to be immortal and gain movement speed for a brief duration, and a 15% extra movement speed. So very absurd. Really good stats. This is mainly the stats you benefit from using big ones like Lightite and Demonite. Now the final one, which is going to be the leggings, this is going to be 10 Demonite, 10 Darkrai, and 10 Lightite with a 49% chance to get the heavy leggings. Now obviously this is down to relatively luck, but the stats we're going to be looking at. Also as a note, technically my helmet is just about as good defense wise as the one that's mainly made out of Darkrai, but the only difference is it doesn't have the Darkrai stat. That's what you have to look at. So technically it's not that great because it could have a 5th stat if I were to have more in it, but you know, you win some, you lose some. So the helmet's going to be roughly 206 base defense. The chest plate's going to be almost 280. And the leggings are going to be 240. Now you're going to have a 75% chance to burn an enemy when taking damage, a 45% chance to fully dodge damage, and a 45% movement speed increase. Obviously, there are other stats like I was showing, like you get other things like the movement speed increase. You could maybe even get this one where the Phantom Step, and just other stats in general. But for the most part, that is pretty much all of these recipes. Now, if you have any other questions or if you want to see a best weapons guide, make sure to comment that down below, and I will see you on the next one.